I was saying y'all about Rico from RicoScores, and now after 2 weeks of OTAs and practices, I think it's a good time to break down some of my notable observations. I was thinking of doing like a stock up, stock down type of thing, but I'm probably going to say this several times in this video, we'll see, but it's hard to really take a lot from these practices, especially when it comes to negatives, like how bad is someone actually. So I really only have like one stock down, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video, but it's really hard to take any concrete observations from this. So we're just going to talk about some of the notable observations, and again, I want to always preface with the fact that these are OTAs. We don't have pads on, we're not in full contact, we're doing 7-on-7s right now. It's not even on 11s on 11s yet, so everything could completely change by the time we get to training camp. Who knows? But we got to talk about a lot of notable things. First of all, the veteran leadership, amazing. Jamin Davis is going to become the next Micah Parsons. Jayden Daniels is already a starting quarterback, your quarterback one. We're going to dive into all of that and more, but before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content that's on the way, man. I'm keeping y'all updated. Again, I've been super busy over this entire weekend, but I'm making sure I at least come out with a video a day, and then after I'm done being busy, I'm gonna try to get back to my 2-3 videos a day that I've been saying I wanted to do for a while now, because there's so much to talk about. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. I'm working on film sessions for the rookies. I have so many different video ideas and concepts and projections and things like that, some graphs, some charting I'm gonna put together for y'all, everything. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Without further ado, man, let's go ahead and dive into this, man. Let's get it. Adam. And first of all, even though we are not sure about Brandon Coleman's level of talent yet, like how productive he actually is, like if he had to go against, say, Brian Burns right now, how ready is he right now? But we for sure know that Coleman is bigger than what a lot of people expected, man. I mean, there were all these talks about he should move to guard because he's short. And first of all, even if he was short, his arm length is fantastic. His wingspan is phenomenal. And I prefer a short tackle with long arms than a tall tackle with short arms any day. So even if he was as short as people were saying, then I still would have been okay with it. But when you're looking at him out there on the field right now compared to other tackles, he's huge. He's literally bigger than other tackles. I don't know if he went through some growth spurt. I don't know if the combine measured him incorrectly. I don't know. But even on tape, when you're watching this all 22, sometimes he does look a little short. But he looks bigger right now. Unless the Commanders everybody on the Commanders are just small, this guy looks big compared to a lot of the other offensive linemen, man. And most importantly, right now, I mean, again, OTAs, not much you can take from it, especially offensive line wise. I mean, there's a lot of things you can work on right now in practices like these, but as an offensive lineman, you can't wait to put the pads on and with real full 100% contact, everybody clashing and hitting, for you to be able to show what you can and can't do. Right now, it's more so just going through the motions and simulating things more so than actually like going through them and things like that. Right now, like guys like in the quarterback room, wide receivers and DBs, maybe even linebackers are getting a lot more work right now. They're developing at a faster rate because they're doing things that are closer to what they'll actually do in real games compared to offensive linemen right now. They're literally just blocking against shadows almost, basically. They're really just going through drills. So we got to wait to see what Brandon Coleman really looks like once we finally get into full pads. I can't wait to see what he looks like in the preseason and things like that, to really like give him like a measuring stick, like where is he? Is he ready to be a week 1 starter right now and all of that type of stuff? But right now, his footwork looks crazy. That was the main point I wanted to get to. I just wanted to give you all of that background information first. But this guy's footwork looks amazing, man. Like that much length with that level of footwork that you're seeing on your screen is insane. That combination could be deadly. That looks like elite traits that you can't teach somebody. You can't teach somebody that length, and it's almost impossible, nearly impossible to teach somebody to have footwork like that at that size. So I'm telling you, man, again, we got to wait until the pads come on, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Brandon Coleman right now. And I feel like this group of a coaching staff are going to do a pretty good job with developing him at a rapid rate. I think they'll be able to expedite his development and get him ready sooner than what people believe. I'm not saying that he'll necessarily be ready to be our starting left tackle week 1, but I think he'll be prepared to go out there sooner rather than later to eventually start. Maybe Cornelius Lucas has to hold down the fort for a little while. Maybe we go and sign a guy like David Bakhtiari to a heavily incentivized contract based on how many games he actually plays in, with him being so injury prone. But I'm loving what I'm seeing right now from Brandon Coleman. I'm more optimistic going into training camp in July than I was just like 2 weeks ago. And I liked him coming out of the draft. I like his tape from TCU. Again, with the way that he blocked against my Georgia Bulldogs in national championship a couple of years ago, he was like the only good player on the field. He was going against #1 overall pick Travon Walker, Devontae Wyatt, it was Jayden Davis, Jalen Carter, all of those like ridiculous defensive linemen all out there. Nolan Smith at the same time. I believe Nolan Smith played in that game. He may have been hurt though. I could be tripping on that, but either way, that was an elite defensive line full of draftable players, let alone first round draft picks and first overall draft picks, and he handled them perfectly, like did as great of a job as you could possibly do. I don't know why the year after that they felt the need to try to move him to guard. They Samuel Cosme'd him, how Rivera and company did Samuel Cosme a couple of years ago, stifling his development by moving him back and forth between different positions, even within the same game. They didn't necessarily do Brandon Coleman that bad, but they did try to play him at guard, and then it didn't necessarily work out too well. They tried to put him back at tackle, and now he's lost his rhythm and momentum. I mean, playing guard and tackle are very different things. You probably have a different diet. You work on different drills. You focus on different nuanced things when it comes to like playing guard versus tackle, and I'm pretty sure that messed up a lot of things with him mentally, more so just like where am I at, what am I actually doing, what am I supposed to prioritize and things like that. And so I truly believe that 22 tape looking that great is who he really is compared to what he was in 2023. And so I'm not really surprised at what I'm seeing in practice. I was already optimistic about him coming in 2 practices, but that footwork and that clip that you saw made me like, okay, maybe we actually have something here. Really, the only concerns I have with Brandon Coleman is strength. He doesn't play with like a real angry, mean streak, and I need to see what he's going to look like in the run game. Right now, we're not running the ball. Again, to keep saying it over and over again, these OTA practices are so different. 7-on-7s, no contact, no pads, that there's no point in running the ball. Dan Quinn even acknowledged in one of his press conferences after practice that we're not going to run the ball. What's the point of running the ball in a scenario like this? We might as well get in as many useful passing reps as we possibly can, because right now running the ball almost means nothing. We could do running back drills on the side, but running the ball right now is utterly pointless in 7-on-7 practices and no pads on, no offensive lineman versus defensive lineman real work right now. So we'll see. There's so many parts and elements to the offensive lineman right now that we're not even able to actually really even simulate, just based on NFLPA rules. We're not even allowed to do that stuff right now. But again, as far as being a starting left tackle goes, he's holding his own right now. From everything that I'm seeing, from everything that I'm hearing, he's holding his own against veteran competition right now. Like when it's like one-on-one drills and things like that, he's very fluid. He's extremely athletic. People are loving him right now. I can't wait to see what he looks like once we finally get out there and really get to work with these offensive linemen. Now, moving on, another notable thing from this practice is the energy, man. Energy, man. I mean, of course, me being from Atlanta, I love the Atlanta classics that are being played while they're doing it. But that early drill to start off practices where they're running amongst the bags, the coaches are hyped, the players are hyped. And I'm still surprised that we're doing it even after the veterans pulled up. I thought once the veterans pulled up, maybe they would think it would be a little like unnecessary and corny. Like, man, I've been in the league for 8 years. Why am I running around all hype and stuff to start the practice? But everybody loves it, man. And it's not even just that drill specifically. I'm talking about the energy everywhere. Like Dan Quinn is almost like where the center is sometimes in drills, like in the middle of everything. Yeah, yelling at people, telling them where you need to be, stuff like that, getting on people. If like I remember hearing, I don't remember if it was Logan Paulson or John Kahn, but one of them mentioned the fact that Bryson Tremaine was slow to get ready, like to get to the snap or whatever. Like after they ran a play and then they were trying to get ready to run the next play, Bryson Tremaine, I guess, was tired, was running slow. Dan Quinn got on him for that. But it's not even just that. Cliff Kingsbury, remember, his initial press conference, he seemed pretty nonchalant, maybe a little arrogant, but he's one of the most passionate people out there right now. Like, he's showing so much personality and passion in these drills. When he's doing quarterback drills and showing them what to do, he's literally doing it with them and like them. He's not just telling them, pointing. He's like literally doing the footwork, looking side to side and everything. Like, he's into it. He's so happy. I showed y'all the pictures of what he looked like, how hard he was smiling, and how he hugged Adam Peters after we drafted Jayden Daniels. So you can tell Cliff Kingsbury is a huge fan of Jayden Daniels. It seems like this whole organization is a unanimous fan of Jayden Daniels and very excited about him. So that may be a reason for a lot of the optimism and energy that we're having right now. But I love it. I absolutely love it, man. He has this franchise quarterback that he believes, and now he's one of the most passionate coaches out there. Leaving that initial press conference, a lot of people were down on him and were thinking that he was just going to come in with this woe is me, don't even talk to me unless it's football. I know what I'm doing. Don't question my authority or something. Don't question my authority, nothing like that. But he seems to be like the complete opposite guy now that we're actually doing football stuff. As you've noticed, even in press conferences, when they're asking him silly questions, that nonchalant, like, why am I even here attitude comes out every now and then. But once they're talking football, he's the most passionate guy out there in the press conferences. He's ready to spend the whole hour talking about X's and O's, what we're doing and things like that. So if you just talk football with Cliff Kingsbury, you got him. And there's just so much passion everywhere. Joe Witt Jr., even though he's not the most passionate guy, he's out there giving his energy. You see position coaches up and down all over the place, because a lot of practices, the way that they're doing it right now is usually there's like one half of the team practicing over here offense and defense, and another half over here practicing offense and defense. That way we keep a heavy rotations of everybody going in constantly. I remember somebody broke it down to where, like, there's a play, like Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson may be out there for 3 or 4 plays in a row. Then they may sit for like 2, 3, 4 plays in a row. Then they go right back out there. Rather than going out there for 10 plays and then resting for 10 plays, it's a constant rotation going on. So there's a lot going on at the same time. And if you're at practice or whatever, a lot of people are saying that you can notice the energy on both sides everywhere with everything that's going on right now. Everywhere there's just constant energy. It's not just one coach here. It's not one position group there. It's everybody. There's energy everywhere, and I'm loving it right now. Now moving on to the next notable observation, Jayden Daniels, man. I mean, what more can I say? Jayden Daniels, just by itself. First of all, the CJ Stroud comps from the national media and CJ Stroud himself should tell you everything that you need to know. CJ Stroud, even I did a whole video breakdown on it. I'm not going to do a super deep dive into that right now, because I already did like a super deep dive into everybody that's comparing them to CJ Stroud and things like that. But I do want to point out the fact that CJ Stroud even pointed out the fact that he reminds him of himself the most out of anybody in this draft. And of course, just to give you like a long story short, the main reason people are doing that is because of his mechanics, footwork, and nuance and throwing motion and things like that, and accuracy. Like a lot of the difficult nuance things that CJ Stroud had coming out of the draft, the things that you can bet on, Jayden Daniels has those same things as well. But I'm not exactly sure if they're like the exact same players, but I can see the comps right there. Also, Logan Paulson, speaking of footwork, was blown away by his footwork, mechanics, and nuance. Like coming into rookie mini camps, he said he watched the tape, he loved what he saw, he watched the pro day like that, but he said that you can't really truly understand and grasp how great Jayden Daniels' footwork, nuance, release, and all of that throwing motion, all that type of stuff is until you actually see it in person. And Logan Paulson said he was literally blown away once he saw him in rookie mini camps, and he continues to have that same, I wouldn't say perfection, but high level of like mechanics and nuance, even going into OTAs. That was not like a rookie mini camp thing only. That is just who he is. B Mitch also noticed and pointed out the fact that he's a perfectionist, because there was one time in a drill where he messed something up, like something really small once. He did everything. He did it right every other time. He messed it up once, and he was truly beating himself up about it. And B Mitch said that he noticed that, and he loved that, the fact that he's a perfectionist. And then Zach Ertz has also been pleasantly surprised with Jayden Daniels, mostly about how ahead of the offense he is and like the playbook and things like that. Like Cliff Kingsbury will come into practice one day and be like, all right, we're going to move into the next part of the playbook, the next part of offense install, because they're not just going to throw the entire playbook at you. They're going to just We're going to do it in increments. We're going to work our way through the playbook. We're going to start here, then add this after you fully grasp the last thing, then add this after you fully grasp all of that. Zach Ertz said that basically every time they come to practice and they move on to something new, Jayden Daniels looks like he's been prepared for it for years. Like he's already been in the Cliff Kingsbury offense is like a seasoned veteran. So you could tell that Jayden Daniels is going the extra mile and putting in extra work, extra study time outside of practice just to make sure that he's ahead of the curve. Anything Cliff Kingsbury can throw at him, Jayden Daniels like, oh yeah, let's go. I already know that. There's no hesitancy. There's no being caught off guard by Jayden Daniels right now. He's ahead of where the offense is basically the best way to put it. And veterans like Zach Ertz, who's been around Jalen Hurts, who's been around Kyler Murray and guys like that, is taking notice like, wait a minute, this is a little different. I'm not used to, especially young quarterbacks, being this advanced and this far ahead in the playbook this early. We're only 2 weeks in the OTAs, and he's already utterly surprised, but happily surprised, pleasantly surprised. Also, I already did a whole video breakdown on this as well. I believe this was the same video as the CJ Stroud comps video, but the Commanders front office and coaches are basically raving about Jayden Daniels behind the scenes. Like they're saying the general and plain stuff that they're supposed to say about him in public, like hard worker, the work ethic, the leadership and things like that. But Jeremy Fowler said that he's hearing from behind the scenes that the Commanders feel like they really found the one. And then on top of all of that, he's been great in practices so far. The only place he's really looked rookie-like at all, and I wouldn't even say bad, just a little rookie-like, is in the red zone. But at the same time, every quarterback we've had so far this offseason has struggled in the red zone drills, even seasoned veteran Marcus Mariota. First of all, the windows are at their smallest, and the red zone honestly comes down to scheme more than anything else. It comes down to matchups. It comes to the counter punches. Oh, you're doing that. You did that last play. All right, let's try to throw this at you the next play and things like that. So it's like the knowing your opponent type of stuff. It's more strategy than anything else, really. It's really like up to the coaching staff. The red zone is more of a coaching staff stat more than anywhere else really throughout the entire field. I mean, of course, your quarterback, your team, your personnel matter a lot as well. But when it comes to the red zone, your coaching and your play calling and personnel decisions and things like that matter way more than anywhere else on the field. But with all of that, we don't have any of that to our advantage right now. We're keeping it very vanilla right now to where the defense has a big advantage over the offense. Again, the windows are smaller, and if there's no like strategy plan for the defense to take advantage of their weaknesses or the holes that they may have, the offense is in an ugly situation. I mean, and then they're also telling quarterbacks to only throw the ball. You can use your legs maybe to extend the play, but Jayden isn't allowed to take off and run for a touchdown in these red zone drills like he probably would in a real game, which I do appreciate from the coaching staff. Don't let him get in the habit of using his legs and running for it like he did a lot in college. That was one of the main complaints that people had about him leaving LSU, is that when he ran, he typically just kept running more so than the run to actually throw the ball. So they're right now forcing him to throw the ball no matter what. I don't care what's going on. You throw the ball. When in doubt, throw it out of bounds if you got to, but you are not running in these red zone drills for a touchdown. You're just not doing that. You better find somebody open or again get rid of the ball. I like that. And I also want to point out the fact that he has looked like the starter. And even though there's a heavy rotation of Marcus Mariota getting starting level snaps at times as well, it's kind of like 50-50. Jayden Daniels is getting some as well. And when he's out there, he looks like the better quarterback. Even like nuanced things, which is the crazy part. We're not even just talking talent, like speed, arm strength, things like that. We're talking about veteran things like going through your progressions, getting to your third or fourth read and things like that. He looks better, and he's doing those things quicker than even Marcus Mariota and all of the other quarterbacks on our roster right now. He literally looks like the starter. So you might as well go ahead and name him the starter day one right now. We haven't gotten like an official announcement from Dan Quinn or anybody like that, but just know Jayden Daniels is starting week one. He's the starter more than likely going into preseason. So however they strategize preseason, this is when the starters play, this is when the backups play and things like that. Jayden Daniels is going to be out there with the starters. Don't even worry about that. Next up, another notable observation, the veteran leadership is insane right now. Like absolutely insane. First of all, Bobby Wagner helping out Samuel Cosmi. Yeah, I know that's a linebacker helping out a right guard, but it's so many random nuanced things. First of all, the leadership from Bobby Wagner, you can't put a price tag on that. Let's just go ahead and get that out the way. But even just one specific situation where Samuel Cosmi and Bobby Wagner were going up against each other, it was was like a typical team-on-team drill right now. And Samuel Cosmi is about to pull. He's about to leave and go shift around to the other side of the offensive line to be an additional blocker. Bobby Wagner, before the ball is even snapped, calls it out. And Samuel Cosmi is basically flabbergasted. He's like, how did he know that? And so then he talks to him after practice, after the play, or whenever. Definitely after the play though, and asked him like straight up, like, how did you what did you see there? And Bobby Wagner pointed out some things, and Samuel Cosmi felt like he was actually doing a great job of hiding his intentions, and somehow Bobby Wagner still noticed the little whatever. I don't know. Me as Rico of Street Scores has no idea what it was, but the fact that Bobby Wagner, a linebacker, is helping our offensive linemen to become better offensive linemen because he's just that seasoned of a veteran, that nuanced, is incredible. I mean, I would talk about that for a whole hour itself, how beneficial that could be to really everybody. Of course, Bobby Wagner is a huge help, taking a lot of other guys under his wing, even Frankie Louvu, but especially guys like Jamin Davis, Jordan McGee, who we drafted in the 5th round, and things like that. But then he's even helping offensive linemen. That is incredible. Then also you have Terry McLaurin spending a lot of extra time with Luke McCaffrey, like even outside of like the allotted drill time where receivers are doing things together and around each other and things like that. Whenever there's any like slight downtime where other people are working on the things and then the wide receivers may just be off to the side a little bit, or maybe it's like after practice or before practice, Luke McCaffrey is like in Terry McLaurin's bubble. Like, hey man, like what? How do you like you do this? I've seen clips of them being like, you know, do I do like? I think they were working on release packages and things like that, release plans. I don't know exactly, to be honest with you, but Luke McCaffrey is like at Terry McLaurin's hip a lot of the time that I've seen. Also, Austin Eckler is doing a great job of being an example right now. Yeah, I know he may have a fumble problem. Yeah, I know he's a little slow, but boy, Austin Eckler's veteran leadership is showing right now because he's doing the drills almost perfectly. The running back drills, there's a huge difference between him and all of the other running backs. Even Brian Robinson, like the other guys will do the drills and they'll be like, okay, that was good. Then Austin Eckler would do them almost to perfection, like doing the right cuts, doing the right timing, the right footwork and everything like that. So he's making a great example for all of the other running backs to follow. Like, this is how you practice. You know, we can talk about games. We can talk about Austin Eckler being one of the best touchdown magnets there has been in the NFL in the past few years, but it starts with practice and to take every little drill with the utmost respect and like appreciation for like, this is going to help. This is going to translate to this in an actual NFL game. Austin Eckler is taking those things very seriously. Maybe the other running backs were taking them seriously, but not as much. And Austin Eckler is showing them that they should. And it seems like they're following suit. And then also Zach Ertz has not only been showing Ben Sinnott a lot of nuance. Basically just take him under his wing as well, please. But also, Zach Ertz has looked great in drills, man. And it's been like a lot of nuanced things too. Like, it's been like taking advantage of leverage and like breaking out on your route at the last second to go get the ball. Like, he's pretty much been uncoverable because he's doing like smart. It's not necessarily athleticism. It's like the smart, nuanced, seasoned veteran things that if Ben Sinnott can go ahead and soak that up from Zach Ertz, he's going to be scary his rookie season. Those things are just so uncoverable, and he's already basically become Jayden Daniels' favorite safety blanket so far. But again, it's hard to take any real, true, concrete observations from these practices because again, these are so far away from what a real regular season game will be like. But so far, if you had to pick who has been Jayden Daniels' favorite safety blanket right now, the when in doubt guy, Zach Ertz has been that guy, which I'm not surprised about. If Zach Ertz is healthy, I assumed he would have been that guy. Now, my next observation, I feel like the depth in the safety room is insane. I feel like I've talked about this briefly in another video, but the depth of this safety room is absolutely ridiculous, man. I mean, our cornerback group, maybe there's a couple of questions there, even though there is talent. The cornerback group has a lot of talent, but man, this safety group is crazy. And if you want to throw nickel back in there with the safeties as well, because they're kind of like a third DB on the field, So you can kind of, because I feel like Mike Sanford still has a better chance, even though he's our pure slot corner, he has a better chance of moving to like a safety role or like dime package than he would like pure outside corner. So even though they are called like a nickel back, I'm going to throw them into the safety room. This safety room is ridiculous with talent. Remember, Jeremy Chin, who we signed in free agency, is one of the most athletic players in the entire NFL, arguably the most athletic safety in the entire NFL already. So let's just get that out the way. The ceiling there is ridiculous. He's your hybrid linebacker safety role, your star position, formerly known by, I guess, the Rivera era and their regime as the Buffalo nickel, but I've been calling it star for forever, just naturally, just as a Georgia Bulldog fan, that's what we call it. And I'm happy to hear that that's what Adam Peters called it. So we're moving to that title, that name for that. I like that. But yeah, this is your guy that, I mean, with the elite athleticism and speed he has, even though he's huge and he can play like a smaller linebacker role if you need him to, he has some range to where maybe you can play him at free safety to confuse a defense every now and then. But I think he's really like a strong safety if you had to, if you ask me. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, he's so versatile there. I mean, you chess piece, easy. Then Derek Forrest, I mean, he prefers to play free safety and he has some range. He's shown a lot of flashes there, but you gotta remember he's big too. If you needed him to be a hybrid linebacker, he could do that as well, but he prefers to play free safety. But there's some versatility hidden there, but he's already made it be known that he just wants to play pure free safety. Leave him alone outside of that. Percy Butler, one of the fastest and quickest guys on the entire roster, more so like a pure free safety from what it's looking like right now, but can also play some slot corner if you need him to. Dominique Hampton, our rookie, has come in and looked great. I mean, Logan Paulson has said that his length has shown up very well. He played a lot of free safety in college, but with his size, I expect him to be another guy that's looking more like a star hybrid linebacker, big safety, extra DB on the field type of role type of thing. And again, like even against the Zach Ertz that we just talked about, how dominant he's been so far in practices and things like that, almost uncoverable because of nuance and things like that. Dominique Hampton, Logan Paulson said that his length has shown up a lot. Like, Zach Ertz is huge. Zach Ertz towers over people, and Dominique Hampton is right there. When Zach Ertz jumps up, Dominique Hampton's hands are right with his hands and things like that. So that's a guy that, even though he's a rookie, even though he's still raw in some aspects, that's a guy that may be rising. You may want to buy his stock early right now. He may play a little bit more than you expect. I was thinking that, you know, there's a lot of talent there, but maybe he starts off as like a special teams guy first, and then throughout this rookie season, maybe he starts to play a little bit more. Scratch that. He may be playing sooner than we thought, man. He's been flashing a lot. Then you have my undrafted free agent, Tyler Owens, the most athletic player in the entire NFL. Perfect 10 relative athletic score, especially if he would have been able to run his 40 time. I mean, just absolute ridiculous athlete. And Logan Paulson has said that he's even shown some flashes so far in practices as well, which has me very excited. Because right now, you could argue he has the highest ceiling of any DB in really out of the entire NFL, to be honest with you, just with that athlete. You can't teach that athleticism. You literally, there's nothing you could do with Tyler Owens' athleticism, dog. Nothing you could do. He's an absolute alien. And the fact that he's already showing flashes is incredible because, like I said, when we picked him up as an undrafted free agent, or even before the draft happened, when I mocked him to us, I believe in the 7th round of one of my mock drafts, maybe 2 of them, I said that he's so raw right now, he's literally unplayable. You literally, like, if we had a game today, Tyler Owens is on the practice squad at best. Like, there's no reason he should ever be on the field defensively. Maybe, like, special teams with that elite athleticism, you can carve out a role there. But, like, as far as defensively, he should not be on the field for any reason whatsoever. At least as we signed him as an undrafted free agent. But Logan Paulson has said that he's already showing some flashes in range, which sounds like they're trying to see if he can play some free safety. We'll see how that goes. I'm very excited about that. And then you also, again, let's get to the nickelbacks, which I'm throwing in there with the safety group. Mike Sanford still. I mean, Chris Sims said he has the potential to be the best slot corner in the NFL. He said he wouldn't be surprised if Mike Sanford still is the best slot corner in the NFL within 2 years, that quickly. Then Nick Saban said he was the best pound-for-pound player in the entire draft. Joe Klatt said he was arguably one of the best players in this entire draft, regardless of position, easy first-round pick type of thing. People are very high on Mike Sanford still, so that's how high they are on his slot corner ability specifically. But he's also shown that he can play a little outside corner if you need him to, especially if you're trying to confuse an offense, maybe he lines up as a slot corner, then he moves outside at the last second, and maybe that's how you can force some interceptions or force the quarterback to be hesitant. Like, wait, what just happened? What are all these changes? I saw this pre-snap, now post-snap is completely different. Now they hold on to the ball a little bit longer. Now the pass rush has a little bit more time to get to him. But then on top of that, you can also play him at safety. There's a lot of clips of him like in zone coverage, basically playing like cover 3 or cover 4, almost like a safety-like role, and then he's getting interceptions in that role as well. So there's that versatility. And then Quan Martin, versatility, Mr. Versatility himself, a guy that literally in college 2 years ago at Illinois, the same place that we just drafted Johnny Newton from. He played literally every position you could play in the defensive back group. All of them. Outside corner, slot corner, free safety, strong safety, all of that. And then last year, we played him in like a star position, hybrid linebacker type of role, safety, but strong safety a little bit as well. Now, so far this offseason, especially with Cameron Curl gone, he's moving up into last year's Cameron Curl's role, which is strong safety, but maybe he's even getting some looks at free safety a little bit as well. I feel like out of the 4 DB positions, I feel like outside corner is the position he can play the least of. But hey, man, slot corner, strong safety, free safety, all fair game for him. I think strong safety is his highest ceiling, but maybe he's already starting to play some free safety, because I've heard that there are some defensive personnel groupings out there where Quan Martin and Jeremy Chin are both your safeties. I'm assuming Jeremy Chin, with how huge he is probably your strong safety, and then Quan Martin's your free safety. I don't know. It's a lot of versatility. We have so many options. This is so fun. And then Kiyu Blue Kelly, I'm hearing great things about him in practice and that he's been impressing. I'm not exactly sure at what position specifically in the secondary. According to the depth chart, he's like a nickel back, but I can see him being an outside corner. I can see him playing a lot of different positions. And remember, David Blackburn, I believe who it was, or one of the guys we've hired recently, either it was Buddy from the Falcons that we hired a few days ago, or David Blackburn from the Ravens we hired a few months ago, but one of those guys was very high on Kiyu Blue Kelly. I think it was the guy from the Falcons, very high on him. Like, he felt like after watching Kiyu Blue Kelly's game in college versus Drake May, that Kiyu Blue Kelly was just this hidden gem that just goes to the right coaching staff and he can be elite type of thing. So Kiyu Blue Kelly's going to get a lot of opportunities, and it only helps that he's making plays already. And now moving on to the next notable observation, and like I've talked about this one for months now, but the Jamin Davis moving to edge rusher thing is real, y'all. Like, very real. Like, it's happening. Like, Dan Quinn said at the combine that they would plan on deploying him in that way and working on him, getting him prepared to do it in like the regular season. We'll see. We'll give him a shot type of thing. But like right now, it looks like it's like really real. Like, he's actually going to be doing that for the regular season. Like, for comparison, the Emmanuel Forbes returning thing, that turned out to be nothing. But this Jamin Davis at edge rusher thing is a very serious thing right now. Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons' coach for the Cowboys, feels that Jamin Davis can play a very similar role. And if he believes it, then who am I to doubt it at this point? And first of all, with his elite athleticism, I'm not exactly sure why so many people doubt that he can even do it. You could argue he should have been doing it like since a couple of years ago. But then we also have intel coming from practices from people like John Com saying that he has like this ability to wiggle, change angles, bend and move with like a level of agility that is rare to find in the NFL, let alone amongst off-ball linebackers. But just even there are even edge rushers out there that can't move how Jamin Davis moves, basically. Like in edge rusher drills right now, he's been standing out with some of the things he's been doing. He's been inconsistent. He's still fairly raw, of course. He's not a polished product yet, but he's showing some elite and rare traits and flashes right now that most humans never could show, ever. And so he may not permanently become an edge rusher, but I do expect him to do it a lot this upcoming season. He'll probably play some off-ball linebacker, and then sometimes he'll step down as an edge rusher. And that's how, honestly, he'll probably end up earning a nice second contract if he does end up earning that. Now, next up as well, again, speaking of Emmanuel Forbes, he wasn't starting at first, but there have been all kinds of rotations throughout the team during practices so far, and there's been at least one practice where Forbes was the starting cornerback. So I'm not saying that he actually is right now. I'm not saying that he isn't. Again, there's a heavy rotation going on around the entire team, different position groups. They're just trying stuff. Let me throw this combination of people out there, see how it works. Let's throw this guy against that guy and things like that. And so Emmanuel Forbes was not starting in like some of the first OTA practices, like week 1. But then I did hear from, I believe it was John Com, that he was starting, or Logan Paulson, one of them, that he was starting at least one day in this past week of OTA practices. And then also, next notable observation, this front office and especially this coaching staff are making a great impression on Jonathan Allen, who was seriously considering leaving before because he wanted to avoid another rebuild. But then he said that he's spoken with the coaching staff. He's been really like watching the practices and feeling the optimism. He's seeing the hires in the front office and things like that. And he's done basically a complete 180. He even talked about this in his press conference and then basically admitted to the fact that, yeah, I did not want to be a part of another rebuild, but this rebuild feels different. This doesn't feel like a rebuild. This feels like this will turn around quicker and sooner rather than later. And so at first he was like, yeah, I'm out. Those rumors about Jonathan Allen wanting to leave, he pretty much confirmed that by saying that. Like, yeah, I was like, I don't know about this one. But now, so that should just tell you everything you need to know about as far as what we're seeing in practices. This is real. This is not just fake optimism. We have a new thing here, like the Eric Bieniemy optimism that we had, or any other optimism we've gotten randomly from just one random change that we've had in the organization. This is a whole new clean slate. And if anybody would know, it's Jonathan Allen, as far as, okay, this one's actually different this time for real. And we could actually put stock in this. We could put hope into this. And then lastly, before we get up out of here, again, like I mentioned before the intro, I do have one little stock down that I want to do, and it's my boy Marcus Osiemijak-Saint, and it's a very nitpicky stock down because it's literally only due to his injury. It literally has to be a stock down only from his rookie mini camp rise that he had. Now he's pretty much back to where he kind of was when we first signed him as an undrafted free agent. Because Dan Quinn was looking like he was really starting to take a liking to Marcus Osiemijak-Saint after he had that crazy one-handed catch of rookie mini camps. And standing out is how you get noticed by coaches and potentially get more opportunities to make more plays to stand out even more. His stock was for sure rising in rookie mini camp. Like, again, Dan Quinn was like going out of his way to like congratulate him, talk to him, and like hype him up and things like that. Dan Quinn likes some Marcus Osiemijak-Saint. That's your head coach. But then of course it sizzled out, and now we gotta wait to see if when he returns to the field if he's the same guy, because he sustained some type of like hamstring injury. It wasn't anything serious. He should be back by training camp for sure, maybe even mandatory mini camps. But I did want to point out the fact that he had this gaining momentum. He was rising in rookie mini camps, and then it's kind of like the stock just dropped just a little bit, literally just due to injury. We'll see if he can regain his momentum as soon as he gets back, which takes me to my point about the wide receiver group as a whole. Not the most confident group. I mean, Luke McCaffrey, love him, only been playing the position for 2 years, and I think he's going to ball out immediately. Like, I think he's like a week 1 contributor. I don't think this is a guy that's going to take until like week 8 to find his stride. I think he's going to come out week 1 and start already hooping. But, I mean, it's literally Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Luke McCaffrey, and then after that, I mean, I'm not too sure. De'Ami Brown is arguably our best blocking wide receiver. He's more than likely going to make the roster just from that alone. But how much can he contribute in the passing game? We've seen clips of Jayden Daniels throwing dimes to him deep down the field. Hopefully, Jayden Daniels can unlock De'Ami Brown's superpower, which is attacking deep down the field and taking the lid off of a defense. That's what he's best at, but he's also a great blocker. We'll see if we can unlock that. But then outside of that, I mean, Olamide Zaccheaus, Jamison Crowder, Damiere Byrd, Mitchell Tinsley, Casimir Allen. I mean, we have so many guys that are really like the same mold, like less than 6 foot tall, shifty, fast, quick slot receivers, get open type of guys. Then you have Bryson Tremaine, who's like the only tall receiver we have. Just to let you know, outside of Bryson Tremaine, Luke McCaffrey is our tallest receiver at 6'2". Everybody else is like 6 foot almost 1. Terry McLaurin's 6'1". De'Ami Brown's like 6'1". Everybody else is shorter than that, which is that's insane for a receiving core. But maybe that's the type of receiving core that Cliff Kingsbury wants. He wants people to get open, not make contested catches. I guess he's just like the tight end group can do that. But Bryson Tremaine, even though I think he's going to end up going to the practice squad again like he did last year, he does have some height and he has been making some plays. But my main point is this receiving group isn't that deep. I mean, there's talent. There's some nuance, there's some seasoned veterans in there, but I mean, it honestly feels like we're like 3.5 deep at wide receiver as far as like, yeah, we got some guys. De'Ami Brown is that half. I'm very confident in Luke McCaffrey, Jahan Dotson, and Terry McLaurin. I love that 3. And then again, you can throw De'Ami Brown right now. It's kind of like a question mark. I'll give him like 3.5 for that. Everybody, I didn't even mention Dax Milne. I just glossed right over that, but And then of course you have Marcus Jackson. We'll see what he looks like when he comes back. But this receiver group, I'm not gonna lie, we've been so worried about this offensive line this offseason. But like I talked about earlier, with Brandon Coleman already looking better than what people expected at this point in the offseason, even though, again, I preface, we're not in the real practice yet. We aren't in training camp, fully padded, helmets, full contact, and things like that. But Brandon Coleman looks a little bit further ahead in his development than we expected so far. Andrew Wiley did end last season looking pretty decent. He was terrible the first half, and then he ended the second half actually looking pretty decent. Dare I say fairly good. I wouldn't say good. I wouldn't say really good. I would say like right below that, like right about average. But again, the first half of the season, he was terrible. We'll see if he just continues that momentum. So the offensive line, I mean, from guard to guard, we're ridiculously good. We have so much depth there. I'm super confident and optimistic about the interior offensive line. Guard, center, guard. Tackle is the only worry that I have. But again, right now, the tackles seem to be a little bit like giving us a little bit more reason for optimism than this receiver group right now, especially top to bottom. But we'll see. But obviously right now, our two biggest worries on the team are offensive line and wide receiver. We'll see how it pans out. I feel like a lot of people have focused on offensive line so much that that wide receiver group, we may want to keep tabs on them as well. Like, okay, who's going to step up? We can't just have 3.5 good receivers going into the season. Who's really about to step up right now? But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content. Again, super busy, but I'm gonna make sure I at least get a video a day to y'all, man. I can't not do that. Also, make sure you let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. While I'm out today, I'm gonna try to read and reply to as many comments as possible from the previous video and this video as well. So make sure, like I say, man, I've been so busy that I haven't been able to try to read and reply to every comment like I used to be able to like years ago, and like I really want to now. So if you feel like you have something that you really want me to see, or like you have a really question that you really want me to answer or something like that, you can go ahead and repeat it into another video. Just go ahead and copy and paste it until I notice it. That's perfectly fine with me. I do not mind. I don't consider that spamming, because I'm all over the place, and the way I put out videos, especially when I get back to doing 2-3 videos a day, I just don't get to see every comment like I would like to. So make sure you, if you really want me to see something or answer a certain question, definitely make sure you put that in this comment section as well, even if it's off topic from what we talked about from this video, is my main point. So let me know in the comment section how you feel about all of this. Of course, let me know if there are any observations that I missed on. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my points, all of that type of stuff. Let me know how optimistic you are about this team continuing OTAs before we go to mandatory mini camps and then eventually training camp. Let me know how you feel about all of that. And man, yes, I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Stay tuned. I'm out.